Student base আছে, alumni base আছে এখানে, right from a full-time dad to entrepreneur, startup বলুন বা যা কিছু বলুন, আমাদের তো quite a diverse alumni base আছে। তো আজকে panel discussion is a very open-ended panel discussion, so please feel free to post any questions. হ্যাঁ, আমরা কিছু generic studies we do differently within the curriculum and maybe what can be done differently within the innovation and R&D space. ঠিক আছে, এই দুটো জিনিস নিয়ে কমন থিম রাখা হয়েছে। আরেকটা থিম অ্যাড করা হয়েছে, সেটা হচ্ছে what about the বাংলা ইংলিশ কম্বিনেশন, ঠিক আছে?
Everybody understand Bengali fine or let's
চলছে। So are you guys interested in knowing a bit about AI? Okay.
Across industries, it's already being used in many industries, and particularly in a country like India, I think AI can have a very disruptive influence across sectors. India is very unique because of the diversity, the complexity, the scale, the resource constraints. So all of that make it a very exciting playground for AI research. And we had an example, so if you look at agriculture, GDP, a large part of it is from agriculture. We have millions of smallholder farmers, and their livelihoods are at stake because of climate change. So how do we actually, AI has a huge role to play. So we need to, at scale, give them access to insurance, credit. We need to be able to train them on climate smart agricultural practices. We need to be able to monitor their crops and find out how well they're doing, or sort of settle insurance claims. Current practices do not scale, but I mean AI has the potential. So for example, in Vinsho we are working on technologies which is a combination of multilingual voice, then augmented reality, computer vision, by which we can assess the health of crops and provide many services to farmers. Another example is in education. ওখানে আমি অনেক বছর কাজ করেছি। In education we have huge resource gaps in terms of quality teachers at all levels. So and also sort of guiding youngsters from education to the job market. So AI-enabled tutors, AI-enabled career mentors, I think they have a huge role to play to augment the capacity of the existing human experts and sort of guide the youth on whom the future of this country rests. Right? So let us start with that.
Thank you. So agriculture and education, and particularly recently, I think in Bangalore, they are trying out some Gen AI stuff to manage the classrooms also.
So there are many more use cases in AI. Actually, it's not isolated. Okay, so AI, it's a very vast field, as you know, right? You have NLPs, you have cognitive computing, you have technologies like AR, VR, augmented reality, virtual reality, very coupled, very close with IoT technologies. Actually, So I will tell you a use case actually, which we did when I was part of PwC in UK retail, in retail sector, retail giants. So basically, when a customer is entering the store, right? So they have used something like a beacon technology, right? The beacons, which are the IoT devices, which identifies your face, the customer, this thing. So it uses image processing technologies, etc. And then it couples it with the AI models, the analytical models, to actually do the customer profiling and kind of predicting what the customer, based on his expression, what the customer will do, right? And based on that, real time they are offering products. Okay, and addition to that, they have this AR VR mirrors, so you can actually try virtually that particular dress or something to match on your own this thing, then do the mix and matching, and then virtually order that. So it's a very end-to-end use case. So AI, as you can see, has a potential of in every step in this user journey, right? Okay, so that's how it is being used. It is used now everywhere. It is used in every kind of technology now, in small pieces or huge pieces, depending on the maturity of the particular client where they are. But yeah, I mean, So this is one example I wanted to tell.
No, I'm grabbing it. So maybe I'll ask Sudipto. So there are a lot of use cases we understand from AI perspective, but I'm sure students would like to hear how they can utilize those in their academic projects, maybe, right? So there are industry relevance. How can you bring that within the curriculum and make it relevant as the part of academia?
One of the things which you can do is integrate that with the domain, because I think the technologies, if you just learn the technology without understanding the domain in which they are utilized, will not be very effective. It's not only about AI, but it's also about any technology. The reason being, and I'm coming from a perspective of having been or am a professor of information systems. So I teach in the business school. My background, so I do research at the intersection of IT and business. What I've realized is that learning the domain in which you are applying the fundamentals. There was a lot of talk about learning the fundamentals, but I think part of the curriculum, part of the education what is very important is that you learn where you will be applying what you are learning. Because, like for example, you apply AI in healthcare versus AI in hospitality, or AI in some other domain, in the sports management. It's a different beast altogether. So I think the knowledge of the domain integrated with that AI techniques makes for a good curriculum. That's fine.
Okay, I think we have one panelist on the speaker
He
here.
is directly working on autonomous vehicles and broadband, all that.
So, Kuntol, can you share your experience of using AI in autonomous vehicles and others?
Yeah, I will take it from Sudipto. It is very important to know your domain and where you are experimenting. Particularly when we use AI in automobile sector. If you go through YouTube channels, you might find people have they've fitted cameras, radars, lidars, and then you process data and you do some kind of, you run some kind of AI algorithm. What is challenging for any automobile sector is that how do you place the sensor? So sensor placement, the mechanical aspect, then you have hardware limitations where you cannot really have a big server fitted in your truck, and therefore you have to always consider the footprint of the AI algorithm that you are developing that has to run. You cannot be very big so that it's too much of computation, and then the software. So I can give you an example. For example, if you take driver monitoring system, from the academic point of view, it's primarily solved. You place a camera in front of the driver and you have, there are different ways of, different mechanism to solve it. Maybe 9-point, 15-point, or maybe you look into the eyes, lips, etc. We also do the same. But the challenge is you cannot place the camera in a truck or bus exactly in front of the driver, because you have no such space. And the legal requirements do not allow us that either. So therefore, the whole problem statement therefore changes. So the domain knowledge is extremely crucial. So if you place a camera where you barely see part of the face, and then you are so limited that you cannot really run a very big AI algorithm which literally hogs the power and which eventually reduces your mileage. So you cannot, customer will not accept that, okay, your truck runs only for 1 kilometer per liter. No one would buy such truck. At the same time, you need to solve those problems. So these are very much important. I work currently in Volvo, and we also work along with the universities, with IISc, IIT Delhi, IIT Chennai. So the challenge that I would say that all the students should take is to understand deeper how the radar function works, or let's say any sensor function works, and try to see how you can develop the software or any algorithm where you have a smaller footprint and try to optimize. It can only happen if you know the domain well and if you know the technology well. Instead of, most of the students we meet when we interview, they said, okay, I have 100 images or maybe 1,000 images, and therefore I can do this. It's not about that. It's all about the domain knowledge, what you are implementing. I end with a comment which I read in LinkedIn. One of the IIT Delhi professor had written that someone did this experiment during Corona, that they had pictures of nose of some 1 lakh faces, and they wanted to connect it to Corona. That if you have this shape of the nose, then you will get that Corona. But it has nothing to do with that. So try to see from that perspective that you cannot just associate anything with anything. So that's not what AI is. AI is more about where you apply. So Sudipto said it very right, and so is Bikram. You look into the domain. There are plenty of possibilities and how you solve the problem.
Wow, that was a wonderful set of insights. Thank you. So that leads me to the very interesting dilemma. I'm sure this is going in the minds of the students. Is that
What should I do?
how in the world will I know what are the problems outside? I am within the university, within this four walls, right? I am dealing with, interacting with my professors, and okay, I have access to YouTube, social media, and all that. But how the hell will I know what are the problems outside? So, any thoughts around that?
Yeah, so I'll share my experience and perspective on this. Maybe it will not directly answer exactly that you're looking for, but to share our experience. So I saw some of your questions during the RSVP. So what we are seeing in the industry, So what we are seeing in the industry is, so if you look at my background, I mostly last 16 years, I'm working in the IT services industry, right? And in India, majority of the people are in the services. So what we are seeing, we work with customers across the globe, like big banks, right? Like some examples, let's say JPMCs, American Express, Wells Fargo Bank. We work with US healthcare companies like UHG, Aetna, all that, right? And what is happening when we started our journey, if I summarize, right? We started, for example, I was working in Hewlett Packard, working in C++ and all that. See, there is a lot of money aspect about it. When I say money aspect, it is about investment, right? So what the companies, the current world situation. So people want to optimize. As a result, there is an invent of low-code, no-code platforms. Probably you know about that. So I work in a platform called Pega. It's a company based in Boston called Pega Systems. Similarly, there are other product companies like APN, Salesforce is pretty popular, right? So what they're doing, right? Apart from each of them, if you look at in the industry, what is happening? Each of them has a target audience. For example, process management in Pega and APN, they do something. It can automate end-to-end processes. You may think about, obviously, when I was a student, I was confused. So what's the process? For example, let's say healthcare company, take any big healthcare company, let's say UHG is a very big healthcare company, right? They process, every day they process millions of claims. I think to the vicinity of 2 million, 3 million claims are being submitted. So from the point it is submitted, how do I process this quickly and accurately and detect frauds, right? And then I'll be actually paying out the money. Now what is happening here, these organizations, what they're doing, AI, there is a lot of buzzword about it. I'll answer probably, my answer will be a little bit wrong. I'm coming to the second part of it. So what these companies are doing, what I see, for example, they are trying to integrate with the AI companies because it is not easy, even for forget the issues we have here, like in Calcutta, West Bengal, or all over India. India is trying now. I felt that obviously US is leading in the industry, followed by China. I think India is trying to do the investments, and the government is trying to spend there. Now, what these product companies are doing, they are integrating with cloud-based AI platforms. For example, H2O.ai, Amazon SageMaker, right? Then recently there is so much of, I would not say call it fad, but there's a hype, right, about Gen AI and all that. But what is the use case? The moment, when I talk to the customer, the biggest challenge, and not only me, I have spoken to many of my colleagues, the challenge we face is fine. All good things we hear about AI, what do I do about it? Can you give me a use case? Have you done exactly a use case because of which I will get a return on investment, right? That's the challenge. So what is happening with Gen AI is these product companies like Salesforce has a platform called Salesforce Einstein, right? Which is Salesforce's AI offering. Pegasystems has similar offerings. So they are integrating with Azure OpenAI services. OpenAI, they implement the generative algorithm on the Azure, right? Apart from ChatGPT and all that. So that is the product companies are doing. Then of course the cloud platforms, they have implemented AI because AI requires a lot of compute resources. So Microsoft is implementing heavily on that, right? And the use cases now, if I come to what is happening, at least what I feel, I mean, not on the academic perspective, I'll answer a little bit on that, my perspective, but on the industry, what is happening, what I'm seeing is all these big companies, right, they have huge customer base, right? So customer personalization is the theme for last couple of years. So whether it is CRM or for any service you have to provide to the customer, right? Because the customer base now it has gone to such a saturation level, it is limited, right? People are competing with each other. So on the personalization, what is happening, there are a lot of rule-based systems like decision management, So Pega has a product called decision management and they are integrating with AI, right? So these sort of things are happening on the CRM industry and personalization. So there is no single rule about it. I think one thing I would like to mention that I see in the colleges in South and all that, companies like Pegasystems, Salesforce, they have university access programs, which is like they are tying up with the universities. So the students, apart from learning the basics like language, data structure, those are definitely very, very, very important. But they are also doing the preliminary certification in all these leading platforms so that they're at least some amount of industry ready. I have seen in NET somehow in West Bengal the colleges have not adopted it that much, but in the South they have adopted it. And I think at least to some extent it is helping them to be accepted in the industry for all those companies who are working with these products.
Maybe I'll ask a linked question to Shourab, is around, apart from the...
Can I add one thing to this?
Okay.
To this point. So essentially, one thing that needs to be very clear, we all tried when we were in college to get an internship. I think internship really helps. Frankly, I've seen campuses like BITS Pilani giving internship for 6 months. For MS, I think it's a 1-year internship they're having, right? I think internship really helps because this domain question that you asked, how do you understand the domain? If somebody is really spending time in a company, the company is forced to give him work where the person is supposed to learn domain, right? So if somehow we can squeeze in some internship in the course, give us 6 months internship, frankly speaking, 3 weeks, 4 weeks internship, don't hold that. 3 weeks, 4 weeks internship doesn't help much, but if you can have an extended period of internship, that is a very good way of knowing the domain. Thank you. Jay, your question.
I wanted to ask you, so we heard a lot about the hard skills, the databases and all that, but having worked in the industry, I think the majority part that is required to work in industry is the soft skills, right? So what will be your insights as to how the students can gain soft skills that will be applicable in the industry?
I think there are some things that you learn on the job, frankly speaking. One thing that I must tell all of you, I tell this to every single engineer who joins my team, that it's okay to take like self-paced learning when it comes to technology. You will learn them because we're interested in learning them. But things like presentation skills or negotiation skills, most engineers are not interested. So whenever you go to the industry and they take you through those rigorous courses of presentation skills and you feel, boring thing, I don't want to attend, please go and attend those. Those are lifesavers at the end. Right? I would say that technology skills, you will learn. You will go through UP, you will go through multiple courses, you will learn. But these things will invariably ignore and say, this is not important, and then that is going to kill you. So whenever you get into the place, try to do this, and try to, public speaking, I don't know, if there are places where you can go and learn those, try those. And I think Shruti, you can tell better about some soft skills because of the MBA thing.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I think one of the things you really have to be, what I've found is more than the knowledge that what I value is the attitude to learn, and how do you learn and how do you find new ways of learning. That is the most important thing. I don't work in the industry, but if I were hiring a student to work with me, what I would be looking for is, obviously I would look at the student's background, but what I would also be interested in knowing is how much the student wants to uplift his or her skills and how much of an attitude towards learning the student has. Because in the end, I can tell you, if you have a certain kind of attitude, that will shape your learning. So I think attitude is a very important soft skill that I would definitely recommend to anyone. Thank you.
Yeah, so just to add to that, I think there are often questions as to what skills should I learn now so that I get a good job. Or, of course, it's important to bridge the gap between academia and industry, and then we could have discussions on how we can increase these kinds of dialogue between the industry and academia, and maybe set up centers of centers of excellence and incubation programs, all of which are very good. But it's very important to realize that if you're looking for technical skills to learn now, that can help you in a few years, those skills would have been extinct by then. So that the half-life of a skill is shrinking drastically. So I don't think the university is a place where you can learn every technical skill. It's very important, as I think all of us have been saying, is to focus on the foundations. I've interviewed students who have done cool projects in AI, but who could not explain what we taught, what we learned from Shivani survey or acid properties, right? They haven't heard of that term. Yet they have done AI projects, right? And they're able to do a very jazzy presentation on that. So focusing on the fundamentals is very important. And the other thing to build on sort of the soft skills, there's this whole thing of 21st century skills, which are skills related to critical thinking, right? Critical thinking and imagination and adaptability and resilience and learning how to learn and continuous learning, right? So these things are far, far more important than any technical skills, because the rate at which technology has been progressing, it's meaningless for any specific university to try and play catch up. It doesn't make sense. But these foundational skills have to be encouraged at all levels. So I was having a very interesting chat with a professor of computer science in university in Germany last week. So I was asking him that with ChatGPT being there now, how do you actually ensure that students are not just copy pasting answers from there, right? So he said that we have taken a decision at the university level that you're free to do that. We are now going to not have automated assessments, but we'll have humans grading it. And we are going to move our assessments, the whole assessment sort of system into a way where you can use ChatGPT, but what we would assess you on is through custom testing environments is what kind of prompts are you giving? Are you giving intelligent prompts? Are you asking the right questions to the AI system so that you can get the best possible answers? Or are you asking some very generic prompts and you're taking a long time to get the answer? So the point is, technology is, whether we pushed back computers out of West Bengal in the 80s, right? So what we have learned from this experience, if technology can solve something, it will solve it. We can't prevent it. So we have to embrace it, and then we have to find ways in which we are very productive working with it, right? So I think those are the skills that we should also focus on.
So just to finally put those 2 points together, somebody said that it's not about how well you answer something, it is about how well you ask a question. Yeah, it's always about asking the right question. It is very, very important.
You have to ask the right question.
And other thing I would say is that just get involved into various activities. It may or may not be academic activities. Just get involved, like what we were saying. We have solved a lot of conventional problems when we were in the university. We created a reunion, we created our freshers welcome, we did a lot of community stuff. And that teaches you a lot of skills that Bikram mentioned, the resilience, the can-do attitude, and when you mention all of those in your CV, that's what people are looking for. What else have you done? Because everybody will do the curriculum, right? What else have you done? So that's how I judge a candidate when I am interviewing somebody, is looking at how they have actually done various things, how they have come out of a difficult situation. Yes? When you are faced with a problem, how do you find ways around it to struggle it? I think we are running out of time. Sorry, I need to call it off. Finally, I just wanted to talk about.
Kuntal wanted to say something.
Oh, Kuntal, we are really running out of time. I will have one point for you. Okay, go on.
Yes. So, very good words from all my classmates and friends. One thing that I really miss, and I always felt that helps you a lot throughout your career, is networking skill. Most of the jobs, or even within the organization, how you grow is all about networking. Whatever you do, if you have a very good networking skill, you will flourish. Even if you are talented, if you do not possess that skill, you will always find yourself in a corner. So please focus on that.
And we all can vouch for it.
That is
It has happened with us. Yes, we all can vouch for
I
it.
just want to finally touch upon innovation and entrepreneurship, because that is something that will take you to the next level, because we have somebody who has done that journey. So Adi, what would you tell our next generation students?
Yes, so what is entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is kind of identifying something which does not exist in today's world, putting that through a series of tests to find out whether this is going to be a successful product or a solution which is going to make difference to the lives of people. So what I see here is most of the questions that are coming to the panelists is how will I, what technology should I learn so that I land up into a good job. So this question, I think the current students have a very short-sighted vision about the future, and this is not the right question which you should be asking. So what engineering teaches us is problem solving, and we have lots of problems around us, and using technology we can solve them. So if I just think about myself, my notepad has say at least 20-30 projects which I want to do but are not able to do just because I have a very small team, I have my own limited bandwidth, but I know how to solve it. But the moment I have kind of approached, or I have been approached by a few private universities, and they say that our students are willing to do internships with you, but they expect a stipend. I say that I have an idea. I do not know that idea whether it's going to be marketable or not. I have a budget which I can spend, and that includes my own time and effort also. So I expect some kind of risk taking from the students also, that I am willing to devote my time and energy, and if it is successful, I'll be part of the kind of benefits that come out of that. But if you are asking for an upfront kind of payment, which is often asked when you look for a job, so I don't give jobs. I started with 2 developers back in 2017. So 2017 I started with 2 developers. At that time I did not know Salesforce. So they used to tell me, "Sir, apni kichu janen na kibabe kaj kore." So that was for about 2 weeks before I grasped the things, and thanks to whatever I learned from the professors here, Shivaji, the database management systems, those fundamentals are never going to change. So after that, my team grew to about 25. Today I have a team of say about 15 to 20. It keeps on changing because some of my developers work from client offices. So I don't have that count with me. But I have capacity to increase. But when I go for recruiting, I look for people who have an attitude to do something. Attitude matters. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not that if I do this thing, if I'm here for 8 hours, I expect the money. So that attitude is not going to get you anywhere. So this is entrepreneurship, giving your present for something which will come in the future. And networking, which all of us agree that is the most important thing, and that when we were students we lacked because we did not have LinkedIn at that time, we did not have Facebook. So with so many means of communication, so if you should develop your academic and professional network while you are still a student, so you will get to know where are the opportunities and how to make the best kind of use of it. Thank you.
Thank you. We'd like to open for a few questions from the students if they have. Anybody or faculty?
I'm not a student, but I'm faculty.
Sir, Komol shortcut. In fact, Komol is a 96 batch. 96 batch.
So, this is not my question, but this is my experience that I am sharing. So, my students are present here. I have been teaching machine learning and deep learning for many years. But whenever I am teaching, they are least interested in the theories and underlying techniques and technologies. They are more focusing on the tools which are available on the internet, and they are collecting data. So they have actually formulated a formula: data plus tools plus tables equal to papers. So is it helpful for them to excel in the future in the industry?
Anybody wants to take that question?
I have an opinion. Again, the answer is grey. It's not clear yes or no. So tools and technologies, data, obviously those are needed. But if you don't know the fundamentals, again, because we have seen data structure, C++, like all of you, right? It has helped us. Similarly, you have to know the fundamentals. Again, I'm not an AI expert, I don't directly work in the field, but a couple of things I'll tell you. For example, if you go for any data science course in Coursera, right, what are the prerequisites? One of them is linear algebra, right? Where do you learn it from? There are many YouTube videos. Professor Gilbert Strang, I think Princeton University, if you go, right? Unbelievable linear algebra classes, right? So you have to devote that time, okay? Learning just Python and calling some library, NumPy and those things. Even if it lands you a job, even if you impress somebody, it is not going to help you. Tomorrow you go to US or any other companies, you work in a research lab, or when you are in front of customers. I'm telling you, academics, yes, publishing a proper innovative patent is difficult. But equally difficult is facing customers. They will be asking you direct questions, right? So I think learning fundamentals, it helps you know the basics, and on top of that you have to think, right? You have to do that critical thinking that Vikram was talking about. That's why Google and other companies are so successful, right? Not just copying and doing those things, right? So I think that's what I would say, learn the fundamentals, because AI, if you're really interested in that, maths is your fundamentals. Programming language, these days even my son can do that, right? So students in school, I think a lot of you have done Java, Python in your school levels also, right? But doing the basics and going deep into it, there is a difference between the two. So learn all the fundamentals, listen to sir, okay? And then go back to, of course, you can augment that from YouTube and research papers, and I would say another thing is attend, I know I have heard that some of you do hackathons and all that, right? Which is very good these days, it is needed. Companies appreciate it. But at the same time, like Kuntal was talking about networking, go to the global conferences. Global in the sense, for example, just YouTube will say, I think 2 days back in Bangalore, there is an AI session held by, I think it was sponsored by Palo Alto Networks and Money Control, right? And the minister, our Union Minister of Electronics and Telecom, right? He announced that in Jan, because he acknowledged that India is lagging a bit, but now they are making the investments in semiconductor and AI. So in Jan, they are going to hold the Global AI Summit, I think in Delhi it will be in January. So watch out for it. Maybe some of you can go and attend if time permits. And then come and take the presentations here, right? So come here and share that knowledge. So with that, what will happen, you are hearing from a couple of us. There you will get a lot of people from startups, from university, from industries, and you will get a lot of perspectives, right? That will open the mind. So,
I got a question from one of the students, Triyosh Ghosh. He said that which is better to do? Is it direct PhD or MS then PhD after undergraduate?
Okay, that's I can speak to that. There are a couple of ways in which you can approach it. So let me back up and say what they look for when you apply for a PhD. And I did a PhD in a business school, information systems, but you know that the story is the same if you're doing a PhD in CS or data science or anything. I think the most important part of a PhD application is the research potential. So yes, GPA is important, yes, GRE or GMAT or the standardized course are important. In fact, a lot of schools are actually doing away with the GRE. So they are placing less and less importance on the GRE. But one thing which is absolutely important for a successful PhD application, especially to a reputed university, is showing that you can do research. Now, if you can do that during your bachelor's, it's fine. So it won't make it, it won't be held against you that you don't have a master's. In fact, I don't have a master's. I went directly from my bachelor's to my PhD. So I don't have an intermediate master's. But that's why. But if you think that, okay, I need to learn the tricks of research, I need to know how to conduct research, and maybe an MS will help me along the way, then MS might be a good intermediate first step for you, and it also allows you to get used to, especially if you're doing it in US, the US system of education and how things happen there. But you could as well do as well with the bachelor's as with the master's if you have research potential. And one of the things which will be held highly is, let's say you have a couple of, it don't have to be very top-notch research projects, but even if you have a couple of publications, that will be really helpful when you apply for a PhD. So if you have them during bachelor's, well and good, go for it. If you need the masters to have them under your belt, do the masters first. I think hopefully that answers the question.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Okay, we have got a question.
Question was that in today's scenario, many of us students who are studying CS and also using AI tools, what we often find that we want to solve real life problems, maybe using AI, maybe using other engineering techniques that we learn in our curriculum. But what happens is that in order to get a platform to be able to do that, we either have to go towards industry, where currently no one really, at least most of them don't accept bachelor students graduating from just their bachelor's into a research oriented or an applied oriented role. And also if we wish to go to the academia, on the other hand, they now the bar has become so high that often many schools that in order to apply for masters, they expect that you have some sort of a publication or maybe a conference. So in today's scenario, us students don't really have a real way in order to make our goals to fruition, because neither the industry accepts us directly into those roles, nor is it very easy to get into academia.
So you have, we have alumni. So if you have the network that with the alumni and other who are placed at various institutions, companies, or even abroad institutions, so you can get your feet wet in, even if it's a small project, and you can get started on it, and that's how you can build. So even if it's a very small conference that comes out of it, that's fine. But at least you're showing that you want to do research and you're willing to do research. Because one of the things when you're applying for a PhD is the thing that is evaluated is does this person want to be in academia? Because for a university, it's a little different for CS versus information systems, but for example, in information systems, the expectation is if you're doing a PhD, you will be in academia. If you're going to an industry, that's the failure of the department. CS is a bit different. You are expected to be in academia, but you can go in the industry as well. But overall, I think the general idea is, does this person like and is willing to commit to a life of research? And if you can prove that, the easiest way to prove it is through publications, but there are other ways to prove it. If you can prove that, you will be a good candidate. And I think that is more important, because that is not something we knew when we were doing our bachelor's. But over the years, I found that PhD applications means absolutely research potential. You have to demonstrate that.
I just add one line to that. Do a lot of research on LinkedIn, because networking like this could be a sort of a semi-networking. I'm not saying we're giving the opportunity directly right now, but I think more of this should happen. You guys also should go out and look for, in the sense that LinkedIn, right? For example, whatever institution you are interested in, some people, right? I know you have the challenge, but somebody has gotten through it, right? So in the LinkedIn research, if you just search, there are many search techniques there. You can find out and go directly message them, ask them. Don't be afraid, right? Whether it is in all over the world, from wherever that person is, right? Ask them, how did you crack that, right? So getting to know maybe, and one thing you have to do in life, what has to happen, that same thing happens with a customer. You knock 10 doors, you will get one opportunity. Don't expect that the first opportunity will come your way, right? So talk to people all over the world, how there are so many channels out there. In today's world, sometimes we are also scared, right? That I'm not so much open that going in front of the world. So ask people over there, send a message, maybe 10 times you ask, maybe 2% will respond. But you will get some of those nuggets of information. So that is another way of networking.
Good. Do you want to add anything?
I just wanted to add one thing to a department. Actually, I think this internship what Saurabh mentioned. Actually, in one of our organizations, they take interns for 6 months and put them into live projects. So what he was mentioning, right? Why they will take me? They actually put into live projects of AI projects. So whatever projects are there, not just AI. And there is a chance of if there is a good performance, there is a chance of they get recruited actually. PwC does that, I know, but there are other organizations also, so maybe department can actually look at that. That's a very critical point.
Very I would like to say something about this internship thing, because we are having a debate while revising our curriculum. Because now actually many of the industries are coming. In fact, today only we have some students sitting here who got opportunities in Amazon for a 6 months internship. But we cannot allow them because the curriculum doesn't have that particular provision. Okay. Now there is a problem. We are having debate. Why? Because we have 1 year project for the final year students. One problem. See, you talked about soft skill. So doing project for 1 year means developing some kind of soft skill like writing report. In fact, also doing some kind of research, because in our department, most of the students do research type projects. Many of the students do application type projects, but many of the students are actually involved with research type projects. So during this 1 year, they actually learn the research skill and also writing report, presenting their ideas, etc. And so if we allow them to go for internship, then again that will have to be squeezed within 6 months only. This is one problem. Then again the courses we offer during the final year, that will have to be squeezed into this. Because as per ICT guideline, we will have to get 160 credit at least by that time. So these are the problems. So in fact, we all, I think most of our teachers have the same question, that whether 1 year project is better or a 6 months project and then 6 months internship is better. So that is one thing. And also there is another problem. Many of the industries, they don't allow to present the internship project to the faculties because of IPR issues. Okay, so then who will evaluate? That is again another problem. So these are some problems which we are facing. So I just wanted to mention maybe
one question. You're saying that there is no provision. So who decides this provision? Can we change that in the?
Yeah, we are trying to change. I discussed with the students also, because this time in the teacher-student subcommittee meeting, all of them talked about. They want internship, 6 months internship. So now we are in the process of revising the curriculum. And this provision, because you know the curriculum, and all of you are students of Jadavpur University, so you know how curriculum is designed, and we are all bound to implement that particular curriculum. So now we are in the process, and we are having this debate. So maybe if some of you come, we can arrange another workshop, and not just 1998, there will be other other batches. So we can discuss this issue elaborately. I think a discussion is required from our side.
This is a valid point to discuss.
Yeah.
And frankly, we are not the only ones having a problem. When IITs don't have 6 months internship always, right? So it's a problem.
Private ones are probably able to do.
Private ones, they don't have the teachers.
So
you see, it is a win-win situation for them.
Exactly. So it's not only our problem. It's a problem, right?
It's a problem.
So we can discuss and see what.
I think elaborate discussion is required on this issue.
How can we help going
And
forward?
yeah, regarding this health, really you know from the papers or newspapers also, you got some idea about the current situation of the university. So actually,
one question. You are talking about the IPR related issue. I mean, are the students doing some intern and using the customer data or something?
Can I just say that we need further discussion on that, because otherwise it will continue with one question.
They do summer internship. They go for summer internship at 6 months. Yeah, I think we need elaborate discussion.
We need to move on.
So regarding this thing, all of you know the financial status of the university. The department is also really for upgradation of laboratories, for upgradation of this seminar halls. We had to find some funding for renovation of this particular hall. Now whatever you see here, just 6 months back it was not like this. Okay, so we had to renovate. So this kind of health support, if we get, first thing obviously, I should not. I think during such a program, probably I should not have told of this issues. But it's really required some kind of financial assistance if you could. Just like developing a laboratory. And also we need industry-supported laboratory. For some accreditation, industry-supported laboratory is required. So some of the industries, if they collaborate with the department and if some kind of industry-supported laboratory is developed, that would be very.
So can we have a forum where we can discuss all these things?
Yeah, we have opened a LinkedIn, probably that Professor Ram Sharkar, he is doing these things, so I mean LinkedIn connection. Yes. We just opened. So
we can have like virtual meets because people are
across
the globe and all that.
So, so someday actually we can have an online, we may have an online meeting if you.
Some of us can come here.
These deeper discussions.
Yeah.
Some of us were here, but you can come here. But
Few here and few.
yes, we can have a.
Professor Ujjwal Moli.
Maybe I can add a couple of things because if you consider IIT, I am talking about only 5 IITs, IISc, ISI. So Jadavpur is considered below that because we follow AICT. Like if you go to the IIT, their credit is 140, Kanpur IIT 140, we are 160 plus. So we are following AICT. That's a burden for us. But we are trying hard to make a 6 months at least for the BCSE student. But end of the day, who will evaluate? That is the big question. Funding is a very difficult thing for Jadavpur University right now because we are going by state funding. Central also that problem, but they are much better.
Central is also not.
Much better post.
And UGC
we saw that in the newspapers.
We are fund crisis is there. But at the end of the day, I mean, I think you all are great alumni of the university, so your help is very much needed. That Professor Mukherjee told. At the same time, maybe you can comment one thing because many of our students have very good lab-oriented product, but if they want to commercialize, because I mentor several companies, I have a little bit of knowledge, but going from up to TRL 5 is fine, but then it's a big issue. I mean, whether technology transfer is better or you can do the, because you understand, I mean, as scientists or researcher, doing business is very difficult for us. So going door to door, as you mentioned, like to the customers. So from TRL 5 to TRL 7 to 8, is very difficult. So can you have any comment? After that, maybe big giant will come and take that one. So can you comment on that? Because in our students, some of our students are exceptionally good. In our lab also, we develop very good product. But bringing the product to the outside is a challenge for us. And also university can earn a lot of, I mean, startup initiative is there.
So while there is,
IIT Chennai is have
solution to that, maybe again, just like funding, you can start with same. Maybe the students can show a demo over because it is happening over the web and all that, right? We can see and then evaluate. We don't know the opportunity.
Yeah, actually, what Professor Maulik said, we need a strong interaction with the industries that we do not have. Our students are established in many industries, but actually we don't have that kind of strong interaction. So with your help, we need to develop that interaction with the industries as well. So one thing is product, and then sometimes industry lectures which we can organize in our department. Maybe those who are in Kolkata, they can come for some lectures so that our students are benefited.
And they have you think about BITS Pilani, you are much ahead of them. BITS Pilani has a tremendous startup, and they have, I think, in last 10 years at least 20 billionaire company. They're coming from BITS Pilani. IIT Madras was behind us when I joined Jadavpur. Now you see the incubation part.
No, I know the central state funding is an issue, of course.
Yeah.
But then we have to connect with industry.
Yes. So that's the reason.
Being in industry, it's difficult for us also to cope.
And if some product is built inside, university can gain a lot out of it.
I think the biggest point that is missing possibly, as Madam said, is build the connect.
Yeah.
Instead of build the connect, let's pull in a lot of people.
And we'll pull in more seniors, juniors, who know from other years.
So that is very important.
We are planning to organize a reunion in February. Probably Professor Majumdar has told. So I think if we can start from this year, every year with your help, because we don't have, this department doesn't have any alumni organization. So that also needs to be developed. So, so an alumni organization, this department, involving all our batches starting from 1988 or before that also, 1985, 85. Starting from 1985, if we, now it is 2023. So how many batches? Consider. So we need to build this alumni base.
that's one of the projects for you, right? Seriously, build an alumni portal for JUBCSE. You have the data, and slowly you will fill in with the contacts and all that, because one person will not know. At least put the names and whatever information.
Absolutely. I think some of them will require a close collaboration going forward. So again, JUBCSE98, we have a big challenge in hand. I think we can do it.
We'll definitely.
So another milestone for us to achieve. So thank you very much for everyone to come and join us. Alumni will head back to HL Roy. ठीक है जी? And thank you very much for joining us.
I would say